And then I never really had time to process it last year because it was June when it happened. I was out of the house for about a month. So I didn't get home until July. Me and my wife moved into our first place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we moved into our first place. Then we were getting ready for our wedding in September. So my whole agenda was I got to go to therapy so I can walk down the aisle on my
Of
own.
course, yeah.
And so that was my focus. That kind of like guided me through. So I didn't really have to think about it because all I thought about was the wedding and then the
Mm-hmm.
honeymoon and things like that. So
Wait, the
um,
wedding was as in like 2 months ago, September, or the
the,
September before?
so June, July, August, so 3 months following the stroke, my
Oh,
wedding was set for. So, and doctors told me I wouldn't be walking until December. So, to be
yeah.
able to walk down the aisle that day, my brother walked down next to me just as comfort,
Mm-hmm.
being in front of that many people, and then of course I walked back down with my wife. But the party and the reception, I was able to, I guess adrenaline just kicked in that night and I was all around just
That's
like
awesome.
nothing
Oh my
in
gosh, that's amazing.
yeah. So it kind of helped, but then it was kind of a setback when COVID hit because I hadn't really gone through the processing part of it. I was in denial. I couldn't even utter the words. I had a stroke for like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody be like, "What happened?" "Oh, cavernous malformation." I'm like, "Okay, what is that?" So um, it's like that's just a malformation. But then as I started doing my research and I realized that I was in a brain injury, like a stroke unit. And so I started to look it up because it didn't seem like a traditional, like what you would read about, like left or right. It was more gradual. So that's how I realized brainstem strokes are a little bit different. And so then I had therapy after the wedding, and then I went back to work, but I probably went back so soon. It was only 6 months. So I went back to work and worked for about 2 or 3 months. And then I went back out and kind of just focused on healing. And here I am today. So,
Wait, so are you back to working now too?
well, right now I'm out on disability and I'm working with my company to get a work from home position.
Oh,
Uh,
nice. What kind of
because
work did you do,
I
I
work
guess, before?
for Verizon in retail sales. So I
Yeah.
was a manager in the store in North Brunswick, New Jersey.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
and so I was working there when they moved me closer to home, but it just wasn't, enough. Like just dealing with the general public, different attitudes, and just, being more sensitive to things. My doctors didn't feel it was good for me to be in retail, especially around the holidays. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm out on disability and I'm waiting to see what they come up with for a workplace arrangement. And then on the side of that, I do like help with financial literacy and credit repair from home.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Uh, yeah, so I'm back to working, back to working out. I was certified. I figured as a trainer, just I realized how intimidating the gym was for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured if I get certified and show people, they can be comfortable in whatever environment, especially the gym, that was something that I wanted to do.
That's
Um,
so helpful. Because I know, I'm sure as being like a young person, I know going back like and doing certain things and then people just assume they're like, just you're fine. And you're like, no, like I'm actually not. Like I need you to baby me just a little bit. I need you to just like I know it looks all okay, but like give me, some steps before it's just 1, 2, 3, go.
I
mhm.
need help with the gym. I'll say that. I
Yeah,
can't do all the stuff without assistance always.
and for me, it was whether it's like physical assistance or like Tony said, the mental. For me, it was mental. I knew I could lift the weights because of what I was doing in therapy, but it
Oh,
was just I needed accountability. I needed comfort to be there,
right.
because it was very uncomfortable. So for me, like I struggled for the physical part. For me, I would say was easier than the mental aspect. For me, the mental part was very as smiling as I am, at first that was my coping mechanism, to just smile and laugh. But I had to be open about what I was feeling. And, the mental part was hard, going out, and I had a walker, and it's like, man, just a few weeks ago, I was out here and just, on my own, and I have a walker or a wheelchair. And, it was almost a sense of, being so young, it was like kind of like an embarrassment for me. I don't know why.
Yeah.
That's just what set in.
Same.
And
Mhm.
I'm like, I didn't want to go outside. And then finally, I just grew comfortable. Like, hey, once I accepted what happened and came to terms with it and figuring out how to better myself, then I got a psychologist to help me, just navigate. Because for me, I had trouble figuring out where I fit in within the community, because
Okay.
I made so much advancement in such quick time that I'm like, do I belong in a group still? Because like I was getting so many comments like, you look like nothing ever happened, or it looks you have no deficits, or things like that. And I'm like, yeah, it was just like a weird space for me at one point. But um then as I opened up, it was like, hey, you belong with this wonderful group of people. This experience, no matter the recovery you made, you still went through the experience, and are fortunately, here to be able to tell it. So that's what shifted.
Absolutely. I think I felt that a lot, because I know everybody is like, well, I mean, you're freaking swimming in the ocean as a mermaid. You're totally fine. Like, you're physically, and I'm like, yeah, physically I'm great. But I think like that's why it really resonated when you were saying your story. It's like, but you did have to overcome actually like a lot. Like you were like, if you go back and
Still
see,
are.
and still are. And it's just like even more amazing that you are like only a year out. Like you are so,
Yeah,
I
that
cannot
is
wait to see
insane.
you in 4 years. Like it's insanity, because year 1 and year 2 are horrible. I just wish I could go back and tell every one of them, like, be nicer to yourself. This is not like, take it out of your mind that the doctor said 6 months, because it's a load of crap, and I don't want to hear that. You are recovering for like years.
Yeah,
Always.
it's no timetable to healing your brain. It's not like a bone, or a time frame of a surgery that they performed before. They're basing it off of other strokes, which are all unique in their own regard.
Exactly. Every brain is different.
Right.